Okay, so we stopped at, because the camera did cut off. It said, I was saying, pay close attention to verse 6 where it was talking about how the Lord your God will bless you as he has promised. You will lend money to many nations but never need to borrow. You will rule many nations but they will not rule over you. So basically, as a lender, you're going to be reigning over many nations. Nations can be considered organizations, systems, movements, confederations. So you can look at this and see that the lender's position is key to living a life of freedom. The lender rules the game of life. This is the reward from God because you are careful to obey God's commands. Now, as a lender, let's define lender. A lender is an individual or group, public or private, or a financial institution that makes funds available to a person or business with the expectations that the funds will be repaid. And remember to hear that word expectation. You expect that the funds will be repaid. Now, this repayment will include the payment of any interest or fees, and this is coming from the Investopedia that I Googled. Okay, the lender lends and receives. So this is me now. Okay, we just defined what the lender was position. I mean, not the position, but define the lender. Now, what I want to say about the lender is the one who's lending and also receiving. Okay, so they lend and they receive. And what are they receiving? They receive the benefits of the repayment from the borrower. Now, the lender has the power and control to set and reset the rules of society. The borrower respects the lender, which means basically the borrower is honoring that lender. They look up to the lender because the lender is the one who is actually giving the resources, the assets, the money that the borrower needs in order to survive. Okay, so when we look at the definition of the borrower from the Oxford Language Dictionary, it says a person or organization that takes and uses something belonging to someone else, who the someone else is the lender, with the intention, back to the intention or expectation of, this action plan of paying back the lender. Now, the action plan is a system, basically intended to, give back to the lender, but it's not a guarantee of payment. It's just an intention. It's an action plan. But the thing about being a lender with God, his word is guaranteed. So if you are lending and you're giving, that means that you're going to be receiving and receiving and receiving. And this law of giving and receiving, it works regardless if you are wicked or righteous. Now, you are better off if you're righteous because, see, the wicked is going to be handled. So, and they're not going to inherit the blessings of the Lord. You have to be, in order to inherit as a lender, you have to be righteous, which means you are following the commands of God. So now, as you will see in these coming years, how this world is, the systems are going to crash. And we're living in an evil world. So I don't want to get off topic, but just understand that this position, not all that are in that position as a lender are righteous. So you will see them falling. Okay. Now, the lender, however, stays paid. Okay. And this borrower is helping the lender to remain in the power and control position. The lender is staying paid, constantly receiving reimbursements, and the borrower, what's happening with the borrower? The borrower is staying in debt because they're constantly trying to pay back. Paying back this and paying back that. They're not able to save. But there is a way out, okay? There is a way out if you are a borrower, because you can become that lender. You just got to become disciplined, okay? So let's move on. We'll discuss, maybe we'll get a chance to discuss how to get out of this debt and being a borrower. The lender is the one who's going to be staying paid, like I said. Now, Proverbs 22:7 says, just as the rich rule the poor, so the borrower is servant to the lender. Now, God doesn't want you to be on any man anything. Okay? He wants you to be a lender. Romans 13:8 says, owe nothing to anyone except for your obligation to love one another. So when it says owe nothing, that means exactly that. Owe nothing. That means no money, no resources that you have to give to somebody. You don't want to be under anyone's restrictions. You only want to be under the restrictions of God. I mean, and following his rules and doing what he says. So why? So you can get those blessings. You want the blessings. Now, if you love your neighbor and you fulfill the requirements of God's law, that's all. Basically, if you're loving those who are around you, if you're being loved, then you are fulfilling the requirements of God's love regarding love. Okay, and again, you're giving. So, as a lender, the lender is free to do his or her will within the system, because the system was written by the lender, therefore giving the lender the liberty to exercise the control, and the borrower is the slave. The borrower is locked into the system. Okay? Unfortunately, and the lender knows this. Now, understanding the lender's position, how can we empower ourselves to become the lender, the philanthropist, the righteous do-gooder, the Patreon, operating in love? I'm going to check the camera because that's the timer, so we just want to be for sure once again. Okay, it's still going, thank God. Now, what can you lend towards your freedom to wealth? Because see, you don't always have to lend money, okay? You don't always have to lend money in order to get out of debt. You want to, because like I said, the law of giving, when you learn that as often as you give, you will receive, then you will start to use other ways of giving in order to become abundant in the things that you possess. It could be your talent. It could be, these gifts that God has given to you, you want to share with others until you get to a position where, while you're doing what you're doing with the money, I'm sorry, but let me read it out to you so that way it's a lot easier for me to explain. It says, what can you lend now towards your freedom to wealth? It doesn't have to be money. It could be your talents, your gifts, your knowledge, love. Initially, that's what you can start with. Because again, the art of the law of giving, you're going to receive. So when you start receiving other things from other people, these are gifts and talents. Because if you're lending your gifts and talents and love and knowledge, you're going to receive gifts, talents, love, knowledge, favors. You're doing favors, somebody's going to do favors for you. And then initially, so basically, yeah, to start out like that, and then eventually you'll build up the return that you're getting, okay? And that return will become so great that you'll become wealthy in the favor of God. And then you'll be owing no man nothing. And you'll be the lender. You'll be in that position of owing no man nothing, making the rules, you know, and you'll be helping the poor, you know, helping somebody else get out of the same position that you used to be in. Okay, so this law of giving and receiving will guarantee a constant flow of return, like a cycle. It just never ends. It's just constant. So if you give love, you'll receive love. I said that. And if you give evil, you're going to receive evil. So on and so forth. You want to be the lender. Okay? You always want to be in the lender position. The lender owes and gives. The lender doesn't owe. The lender owns and gives. The borrower receives and takes. In Luke 6:38, the New Living Translation says, "Give and you will receive. Give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together, and giving over shall men give into your